everyone, welcome back to my channel named right after my name, msnobuntu. Welcome to all my subscribers. It's so good to be back, and I thought today, I just want to get right into it. I thought today I would actually continue to elaborate on narcissistic abuse and on that topic and other tentacles and branches of that topic. So without further ado, let me get into what I'm here to talk about today. So today what I felt prompted to talk about was the nature of a toxic narcissistic person. Okay, so let's start with the toxic part. A narcissistic person is typically toxic. What I have learned from my own experience dealing with a toxic narcissistic personality is that a narcissistic personality is a vampire. They are time, they are energy, and they are an attention vampire. So if they want anything from you, it's to waste your time, it's to waste your energy and wear you down. And also they always want their attention to be on them, and to revolve around them and their toxic behavior, in whether they are triangulating people, whether they are creating drama that is unnecessary, whether they are being obnoxious. They always want their attention to be focused on them. So in saying that they are time, energy, and attention vampires, it means that this is their food. When you give them time, it feeds the narcissist. When you give them energy, it feeds the narcissist. When you give them attention, it feeds their bad behavior. And so what I learned is that when you don't feed something, it doesn't grow. When you don't feed a plant, it doesn't grow. And so whenever they come to you and they want to bring drama and want to crazy make in your life or in a context or in a situation, or when they come to you and they want your attention and you can't give it to them, and so they throw a fit, which is also typical of narcissists, then the best thing to do is to not feed them, is to not feed their bad behavior by responding in the way that they want you to respond, which is to turn your attention to them, which is to give your energy to their antics, which is to give your time to them, whether you've agreed or not. The other thing that just came to mind about what a narcissist will do, a toxic narcissistic person will do, is that they will ask for something from you, ask for your time, for example, or ask for your energy, or ask for your attention in some form, shape, or way. And if you don't give it to them, they try to take it, and they do not respect boundaries. They don't like to hear a no. And so if you don't give them what they want, they like to throw a tantrum, and they like to throw a fit to not only control you into submitting to what they want and want right now, but also to manipulate you into being afraid to not give them what they want and respond to their every whim every time they have a whim. And so again, it goes back to them being very manipulative, controlling personalities, where they like to manipulate, they like to control, and at any and every cost, in order to, again, take up your time, take up your energy, and have all your attention focused on them. They are vampires. And we've all watched vampire films. Whenever those vampires don't feel like they have any target to bite the neck off of, it's like they're going crazy, and they will bite their own. They will do anything, to get that bite and that blood, and and get that feed. And the best thing that you can do to a narcissistic personality and a toxic personality like this is that you do not give them what they want. So one of the ways to deal with a toxic narcissistic personality is to ignore them. because they want your attention. So you starve them of what they're demanding from you, what they are manipulating for you to give them. You starve them by ignoring their behavior, by ignoring their whining at you, by ignoring all the things that they do to try and get your attention. Ignore them. And then, give them nothing that they are demanding, because these are typically people that do not respect other people's boundaries, respect other people's time, respect other people's energy. They just don't respect other people's schedules. They don't have any sense of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. A narcissist will come to your door at midnight and want to have a fat conversation about the difficulty they're going through, and disregard the fact that they've woken you up from sleep, and midnight, 12 o'clock is probably not an appropriate time to come to someone's door. A narcissist will totally ignore that, and when you point that out to them and you refuse to give your time, and you close your door and say, no, not now, perhaps in the morning the next day we can make an appointment, that's when they will throw a fit, because you're not giving them what they're demanding when they want it. So second thing, do not give them what they demand. When they ask clearly, then we can talk. When you talking to me like a human being, then we can talk. And when you can accept my boundaries and when you can accept my no, then we can interact with each other as mutually respectful people towards each other's wishes, towards each other's boundaries. Do not give them what they demand. Otherwise, you are feeding their bad behavior. The other thing that I thought of is that you do not respond to their guilt trips and intimidation ploys. They are master manipulators. Always starve them. Do not respond if anyone tries to guilt trip you, if anyone tries to intimidate you into getting their way, that is someone who is trying to control you. And do not respond to anyone trying to control you. That's not a good thing. That's bad behavior. And when you feed bad behavior, it magnifies. But when you don't feed it, when you starve it, it kind of diminishes and it goes somewhere else to find food for itself, to find supply for itself, as it would be called in the narcissistic abuse community. It's called supply. They'll go somewhere else to find their supply when you don't give them their supply, and you are clear that I'm not going to be the person who's going to be your supply for the things that you want, for your addiction for time, for energy, and for attention. That's about it. I just want to keep this short and sweet. If anything else comes up, which I'm sure it will, I will come back and I will continue to build on this narcissistic abuse subject that I've started. I have noticed that this particular series is getting hits and it's getting watched. So it tells me that there is a need for it, and that people are actually going through this and are finding language for it. And I think that's what for me really fascinated me about narcissistic abuse and toxic personalities, language, terminology and language, and the study of it. Is that once you hear that, oh, other people have been through this, are going through this, and here's the language for it, then you are able to understand what you are going through so much better, and you are able to work through it so much better if you understand this is what's actually going on. I'm dealing with a toxic narcissistic personality and person, and here's what I need to do in order to not be controlled, in order to not be overruled, in order to not be manipulated by this person. So that is it for this week, and I will see you again next week. Stay blessed and be blessed, and remember, do not give your power away to a narcissist.